Hello guys, my name is Khan. Actually, in today's video, I will give you a quick overview about the things that we have covered in our previous video. As I said that this video will be a quick overview about the things that we have discussed. So I will be doing things a bit quickly. So in case of anything that you guys find confusing, you can watch the previous video that I have made related to the Power BI. So the first thing is that if you are new to Power BI, how to launch the Power BI. So if you are using Windows, so you will be having in Windows 10 we have uh, this Microsoft Store. So under the Microsoft Store you can search Power BI. So you can click it, Power BI desktop app. As I have already installed the app, so I will not reinstall it, and it's not giving me option here. It's giving me an option to launch the Power BI. So you can launch it from here, or you can, or if you haven't installed it yet over your desktop, then there will be an install option here. You can install it. You will need some basic information to install it over your laptop. So once it gets launched, the most quicker or easier way to launch Power BI is that if you come here in under the search, you click right down Power BI. So there is an option Power BI desktop. I will click it, and it will load the Power BI for me in my laptop. As you can see, it's initializing the Power BI for me. But meanwhile, when it's initializing the Power BI, I have created a folder for this video, and I will be using these two data sets. These two data sets are in Excel format. So I will tell you guys that how you can import that data sets into Power BI. So once you open the Power BI, you will be having this kind of a window. So the first option here is to get data. So the Power BI works in three steps. So the first you have to import or data into Power BI. Then you make tabulations or visualization over the data. And the third step is that you share your visualization or dashboards with the users. Again, in order to work in a Power BI, you have to go through three steps. Import the data into Power BI, create your visualization, and then the last step will be to share your visualization. And in this video, I will quickly go through all three steps. So I will say get data. So it's loading, and then I will get a chance to load the data. So in order to get the data, you can import the data from different sources, as you can see, from Excel, CSV. Even here there's further categorization. Under the files we can import data from these kind of formats. Then even we can import the data from the database, even from the Power BI Azure online servers. But mainly for this video, I will be getting the data from Excel. Yes, so I will click Excel, connect it, and then it will allow me to select the file that I want. So I want this file to import, so I will use this file, and now it's loading that data set for me in the Power BI. So once the loading of the data will get complete, I will be able to see the variable names under in that data. So while it's loading the data into Power BI, I will want to show one more important thing. Whenever you import the data into Power BI, especially if the data is in Excel or CSV format, the thing that you have to be very careful that your variable names, as you can see here, these are the variable names which are in the first row, that your variable name must appear in the first row of your data. Otherwise Power BI may encounter an error, and you may find difficulties in using the variables in Power BI. So make sure that your variable names appear in the first row of that data you are importing into Power BI. So, and now you're saying that it's saying, okay, we have extracted that Excel file, but which sheet you want to select. Actually, I just have one sheet, but if there are multiple sheet in that Excel file, you can import the sheet that you want. So I have selected the 2005 sheet. I will say load. Now it's loading the data from that sheet. So once the loading will be complete, you will be able to see the variable names from that data here. I think it will take a bit time. Okay, I think now we are ready to go. As you can see that once the loading get complete, we have variable names here. The important thing to note here is that for some variables there are summation sign. These summation sign mean that these are numeric variable on which you can use numeric operation, whereas the variable like region, state, state 2, country are not numeric variable. These are more like categorical variables. So now the first thing is that the first step we have completed, we have imported the data. And then the second step is that to create the visualization. So suppose if I want to create a bar graph, so I will click the bar visualization under the visualization option. I click this bar option, and I want the region variable to be appear on the x-axis. So I'll use the region. I will click it. It automatically went to axis, and I want to see, because I have selected the x-axis, but I also have to define some variable which will define the height of those bars. So suppose I want this population variable, and it went under the population, but you can even drag those variables to go into the selective field. So now you can see here that we have a chart which is saying, because we are using the US data, and it have a region variable which is saying that the US states have South region, North Central, Northeastern, and West region. So this is the one bar graph that we have created, and the y-axis is showing the population under those regions. Now suppose if you want to create another graph, so then you have to select in the white area which is outside this plot. So I will select here, click it here, and then I will, suppose if I want to create a map, so I will click it. So you can see that now, but there is no data yet behind, so I have to select. Suppose if I want to select the state variable, so state variable is gone under, because the state variable is capturing the state names, but here you can see that it have plotted the states on the map. But I suppose if I want to say that these points got enlarged, or the size of these marks depends on the population of those states. So suppose I have population variable, and here you can see that we have an option size. So if I select population, by default it's naturally they have taken to the size, but even as I said, you can drag those variables according to the field where you want. So you can see now that the marks are mark sizes got changed according to the population for each state. I can further, but the good thing about Power BI is that suppose if you want, so you have a bar graph here, and you want to see that how the population, how this graph will be looks like for the south states. So it's very simple. If you just simply click the south, you will see that all other graphs under your page will get adjusted for the south state. And in the same way, you can select the north central, northeast, west. So now you can see, I suppose if you want to go back to all the data, you can click anywhere outside those bar and it will become default. It will select all the data. So now we have covered the second step, in which we have created some visuals over the data which we have imported into Power BI. So now, before telling you how you can publish your dashboard, there is another thing, because when most of the time when you will import the data into Power BI, you may require to manipulate that data in order before creating visualization or before publishing it to other users. So what does it mean by data manipulation? So suppose if you added the data and you want to create a new variable, if for such kind of data manipulation, you always will be using edit query. So I will say edit query and I will be using this option. So once you will click that, it will open us new window. And under the new window, it will show you the data set that you have imported. So for this video, I currently have just one data. So this is it is showing me all the variables, all the data view here. Now the thing is that suppose if I want to create a new variable, so you can see here under the new window, we have transform, we have add column, so we have view, help. So suppose if I want to create an add new variable, so I will go to add column, I will say custom column, and suppose if I want to create a log of population, I want to take a natural log of my population variable. I'm just giving an example. So I will say this will be my new column name, log underscore pop, and here I will write down. You can even use different arithmetic functions. So I'm just giving an example of log. So it's log. So I will be using so I'm using this log, number.log, and I will be using brackets, and here I will want this variable. So I will just simply click it to come here. I will say OK, and you can see that it have added a new variable here. So it's one of the kind of data manipulation you can do in Power BI. Another example that we have discussed in our previous video is that suppose I have this country variable, but even Power BI allows you to split columns. So here I'm just giving an example. Suppose if you want to split this country variable whenever the S is appearing. So in this whole data, the country remains same, USA. So I want U in one column and A in separate column. So the first thing I will like to do first is that I like to duplicate column. So if I say duplicate column, it will add another column in my data, which is, you can say, country copy. So it have added two columns, country and the country copy. So here I can use the split option. So let's see, if I select this column, right click it, and once I right click it, you can see there's different options. So there is one option, split column, and I've said by delimiter. So I will select it, and here what I will be using, if you can see it here, select an entire enter delimiter. So I will say, and I will be using custom delimiter, and the custom delimiter I want to use is S. So you will be, after this I will say, for each occurrence of the delimiter, whenever S will occur, it will split it into a separate variable. I said OK. So now you can see the U is in one column and the A is one column, and USA, say S is considered as a splitter. Whenever the S comes, it split it into a separate column. So in this, these are the kind of some options that you can use to manipulate data. And other thing is that in Power BI, while writing the queries, you can even filter the data. Suppose if you want your visualization for some sort of limited data. So suppose if I go to my state variable, if you look at the variable name, there are down arrow buttons. So if I click the down arrow button, you can filter the data. Suppose if I don't want Alabama and Alaska, Arizona state in my analysis, I can set OK and I can filter my data. And other thing is that whatever you will do under your Power Query editor, it will keeping a record here on your right hand window. And suppose that I don't want to filter my states, and I realize that I don't need it. So you can simply click these process to remove those tabs. So suppose I don't want filter row. So once I clicked it, those states are back. And another thing that I want to show is that here I have created these two split columns. I also don't want that because I just have shown you guys those things. I will also remove it. Once I remove it, those things are also get removed from here. So these things are kind of the way you can manipulate data. So once you finish the manipulation, you can go to home and you can say close and apply. Close and apply. So it will apply all the changes that you have done through edit query. Yes, it have applied all the changes. We are back to Power BI. So, and now the thing is that another thing that I want to show you guys, that at the same time when you are you can also add 2 dataset or 3 dataset into your Power BI. So suppose if I want to add another dataset, how I can do it? Again, my other dataset is located in Excel file. I will be using this dataset, open. So it's now adding the second Excel file. So for this video, I have used 2 datasets. Both are US Census dataset, one for 2005 and one for 2010. I will be using 2010 now. I will say load. So currently my graphs are based on 2005 graphs. So once I will be able to upload my second dataset, you can also make visualization based on your 2010 dataset. But now I will show you guys that how you can append dataset and what are the relationship between multiple if you have multiple files in your Power BI, how you can do that. So if I do this, you can see that these visuals are based on 2005, but here you can see that I have 2 datasets, 2010 and 2005. And here, if you look at here on your left window, this is a report window where we currently are. But if I have selected 2005, and this is my data view window. So if I select it, you will be able to see how the data looks like. From my data view, I can't manipulate it. In order to manipulate, I have to go to edit queries. And suppose if I minimize it, and if I want to go to 2010, I can simply click it and now it will take me to the 2010. And here is a very important, which is the model window, which mainly shows what are the relationship between the data set that you have imported into Power BI. So if I click it, you can see it here that this under the 2005 and 2010, there is one-to-one relationship. And the one-to-one relationship is based on the state, because the state variable is unique in both data set. So you can use these options to see how data looks like, what are the relationship between data set. But now I will show you guys that how you can append data sets in Power BI. So in order to append dataset, because it's a kind of data manipulation, you have to go to edit queries. Here is the edit query. I will go to edit queries, and once so the one thing that I will do before appending the data is that I will create a copy of my 2005 data. So I have selected 2005 right click it, and then I will say duplicate. So this 2005 data is the same as this data. I will rename it. So this is my way of appending, so you can append it a bit differently too. 2005 2010. Currently this data set 2005 underscore 2010 is simply the 2005 data set, but I want to append 2010 data set below 2000 this data set. In order to do that, if you see on your home window, there is the option append queries. I will say append queries, and it's going to open a dialog box for me. Yes, this is the so under this box is saying you want to append 2 dataset or 3 or more tables. I just want 2 tables here. So I have already selected 2005 underscore 10 data, and I want to append 2010 data below it. I will say OK. So now you can see that under this data I am having both 2005 and 2010 data set. So if I go below here, you can see that these variables are missing here because these variables log population I have created in the 2005, not in 2010. So the variables which are common in both datasets are got filled automatically. As you can see, year variable here is 2005, 2010 have the data, but the variables which are in one dataset and not in the other dataset have values like null. Null means the data is got missing. So this is the way you can append dataset. So I will say close and apply changes. Close and apply changes. It's applying the changes to the work I have done. Let's apply changes. So once the changes will apply, you will be able to see that I will be having 3 data set on my right hand side, and I can use those all 3 data sets to do my visualization. So suppose now I'm ready to publish or want to share my graphs to my audience. How can do that? Under the home tab you can see there is an option publish. So once I will click publish, I will say save. So what it will do, it will first ask me to save my Power BI dashboard in my computer. So I will say first report. I will say save. So now it will be preparing it to publish it on web, and once it gets completed, I will be able to publish it over with my users. So just give me a minute, let me sign in. So I signed in, so now I can publish it. So I have only one workspace. I will say select, and it's publishing it over the web now. And it's saying that okay, we have done publishing. So I will say open first in the Power BI. So it will take me to the account, and from where you can easily share it with other users. I will be using this account. Take the time. So once it will complete, you will be able to see the visualization I have created. So under my workspace, if I click it, you can see on your right side, you can see that these are the reports that I have created. So this is the first report that we have created. And so suppose you want this graph to be added in your dashboard, you can use this pin. You can click it and it will ask you that you want to add this visual under your existing dashboard or new dashboard. We don't have any other existing dashboard. Then I will be creating my first dashboard, naming it as first dashboard, and I will say pin it. And now if I go to I'll say go to dashboard. So you can see that it got added into my dashboard, and I can label this dashboard. I can add titles here, so I can make it more visually attractive. So once I will finish my dashboard here, you can see an option here, share this dashboard. You can click it. You can upgrade your account or try a free account here. It will give you finally in a web link that you will be able to share it with other users. So in this video, we have discussed that how you can use Power BI to import dataset into Power BI, how you can create visuals, how you can manipulate data, and then how you can finally share that dashboard with the users. So this video is a bit quick overview about how you can create a dashboard in Power BI. In our later videos, in my later videos, I will try to cover a bit more complex thing. Thank you for watching the video.